Now on News 6, another round of storms to end the week. Chief Meteorologist Candace Campos will pinpoint the biggest threats. Plus, new technology is helping predict flood-prone areas.
Through topography and GPS, we can see where water will collect.
How it's being used to change flood zone maps. And the push to protect our shorelines with mangroves.
Living shorelines are 8 times more effective at protection than seawalls.
This is News 6 Mornings.
Plus, a man is in the hospital after being shot by police in Kissimmee. How investigators say a BB gun led to the use of deadly force. Good morning on your Friday. It is 7 a.m. I'm Crystal Moyer.
I'm Justin Mormouth. Trooper Steve is here watching the roads. Just had a fatal crash pop up. More details on that momentarily. First, though, Chief Meteorologist Candace Campos leads us off with that forecast.
Yeah, earlier start to some rain and storms this afternoon. Already seeing a little bit across our western zones. But if we want to talk early rain, that's going to be the big story come Saturday. So let me grab your attention so you'll stay with me here. Daytona Beach sky cam right now, a beautiful start to the day. Right now we're at 72 degrees in Daytona, 75 right now in Melbourne. Good morning to you guys in Seminole County. Sanford, for instance, 73 degrees at this hour. Again, most of us staying mostly dry. We're starting to pick up a little bit of rain right now. Northern Lake, that just developed since the last time I looked at this radar. But you can see right now Marion County is looking mostly dry, but most of that rain now falling across Lake County, areas of the Villages, Lake Pennsauken, Coleman there, and a little bit out towards the Sumter County area. So just to be aware that the rain isn't going to start as late as it has been. Look at those rain chances this afternoon. Up to about a 60% this afternoon into a 70% zone there along our coastline. Most of the activity should kind of taper off by about 5, 6 o'clock this afternoon and into the early evening. But again, I want to turn your attention to your Saturday. Early Saturday morning rain chances are going to be on the rise. Notice the rain chances are a little lower further north because that's expected to come through before Saturday morning. Again, this is an early start. Gusty winds, heavy rain, all will be a possibility, but very nice weather, though, awaits us after that. I'll have more on it coming up in just a little bit. Now let's check on those roadways with Trooper Steve. He has a quick check on your traffic on this Friday.
All right, 417 down on the south end, not too bad here, Lake Nona area, Narcoossee. Unfortunately, we do have a fatal crash that just came out, very residential. I used to patrol this area, so it concerns me just a little bit here. Blue Bayou Drive at Water's Edge Drive. This is going to be the Buenaventura community, just south of Osceola Parkway, east of the turnpike. Zoom out just a little bit so I can give you a reference of where we're at here. So we're just north there of Buenaventura, south of Osceola, right there. This is all residential. There are some reports possibly of a vehicle in some water out there. I'm trying to get some more information. Our Stephanie Rodriguez is actually going to head to that area here shortly. Guys, back to you.
Thanks, Trooper Steve. A dangerous scene in Kissimmee after a call about an armed man ends with police opening fire.
Yeah, now 3 officers are on leave. This all happened right in the middle of the day, yesterday, behind a shopping plaza on 192, right near North Bass Road. Police say they got a 911 call reporting a man armed with a rifle. Officers arrived, and they say the man refused to put the weapon down and then pointed it right at them, forcing them to open fire. The weapon ended up being a BB gun, but the police chief says the officers had no way of knowing.
After examining that, what you found out to be a BB gun, you feel confident that it was difficult for the officers to discern between a real weapon and what was turned out to be a BB gun?
Absolutely. This rifle here looks like and resembles a real rifle.
The man who was shot, 20-year-old Matthew Wagner, survived and was taken to the hospital. The shooting will be investigated by FDLE, which is standard procedure. Yesterday at this time, we were telling you how a federal court blocked President Trump's tariffs on dozens of countries.
But this morning, just as quick as that block was put in place, it's now been lifted. On Wednesday, the U.S. International Trade Court ruled the president did not have the authority to use an emergency powers law to impose the tariffs. But just a day later, an appeals court paused the ruling, with the White House calling the whole thing judicial overreach.
There is a troubling and dangerous trend of unelected judges inserting themselves into the presidential decision-making process. But ultimately, the Supreme Court must put an end to this.
Both sides must now give the appeals court written arguments. As for the impact on the markets, they finished the day higher yesterday despite the reversal. Overnight trading, though, has been down.
This morning, we're getting a look at body camera video showing the moment a man accused of injuring a 16-year-old in a shooting was taken into custody. Over the weekend, Volusia County deputies say Travis Fowler got into an argument with another man over money when he opened fire on Woodland Boulevard. The bullet missed and instead flew through a car window, grazing the teen as he was riding home from a graduation party with his family. The teen survived but suffered serious injuries.
You know, you got a 25-year-old who's got there's no conscience there. It's just, I'm in an argument over money, so just whip out the gun and just run down Woodland Avenue and just fire indiscriminately after people that are running away.
Fowler appeared in court yesterday on a long list of charges and was ordered to be held without bond.
New this morning, a former Marion County deputy is back in jail after being indicted for bank robbery.
That indictment comes after she was arrested earlier this month during a traffic stop. Police say back on May 3rd, Christina Thagard passed a note to a teller at a TD Bank demanding at least $50,000. She was stopped just 11 minutes later, and although she denied being part of the robbery, police say they do have her on video inside the bank and that items used in the robbery were found in her car. If convicted, Thagard faces a maximum penalty of 20 years in federal prison.
New this morning, police in Port Orange are asking for help identifying a man accused of exposing himself. Take a quick look at these photos here on their screen. Investigators say the man here exposed himself to several women at the Hawthorne Village Apartments on Yorktown Boulevard. If you recognize him or have any information, call Port Orange Police. Right now, several bus riders are raising concerns about safety in one part of Orange County. It comes 1 week after Nelson Odiche was sentenced to life in prison for raping a woman at a bus stop in Pine Hills in 2023. We spoke with riders to see if they've noticed any changes since then, and several told News 6 better lighting and benches are needed.
Some don't have no cover, some have no seat. We had to stand up until the bus come. Sometimes the bus don't come until 1 hour, 2 hours time.
If I got to take the bus at night, I'm not going to do it because I'll just wait till in the morning because it's not safe. It's dark.
News 6's Jarrell Baker reached out to Lynx. A spokesperson said the coverings are based on how many riders use the stop. They also say Orange County leaders approved a plan in 2023 giving Lynx around $45 million to add 264 new shelters, more bus routes, and stops. Happening today, help from Central Florida is headed to the Midwest as the region works to recover from devastating tornadoes.
Those storms killed more than 24 people and forced many more from their homes earlier this month. News 6's Angie Casada joining us now live from the Red Cross office in Orlando, where local volunteers, Angie, will be deploying in the next few hours.
Hey, good morning, guys. Yeah, that's right. 7 Central Florida American Red Cross volunteers will be heading to Missouri later on today. It's all part of a massive national relief effort after those intense, powerful tornadoes ripped through those communities. Now, the storms carved a path of destruction across Missouri and Kentucky earlier this month, flattening homes, toppling trees, and leaving many families with nothing. 27 people were killed. At least 38 people were injured in St. Louis alone, and officials say nearly 5,000 buildings were impacted. The Red Cross says more than 360 volunteers are already on the ground for helping provide shelter, meals, and emotional support. That includes replacing prescriptions, medical gear, and distributing supplies to more than 2,600 families.
There ain't no words for it. It's like a war zone.
My brother, my family, all of my neighbors, everybody did pretty well. Took everything from everybody.
It's so overwhelming. This is a pain like I can't describe.
Now, the Red Cross tells us shelters remain open for anyone in need. One of those volunteers are from right here in Central Florida. He's set to leave later on this morning for a 2-week deployment. Of course, we're going to be talking to him in a little bit and have more on that at noon. Reporting in Orlando, Angie Casada, News 6.
Thank you, Angie. Meantime, FEMA says more than 32,000 claims following Hurricanes Helene, Debbie, and Milton in Florida are still pending, all because of missing documentation. FEMA says a lot of those people still qualify for the help, but they're missing the paperwork. You can submit an appeal if this applies to you. It must include a signed letter explaining your situation along with any supporting documents. We have more details on what you'll need inside the story on clickorlando.com.
And as we prepare for the next hurricane season that begins in just days, Candace, it's important to start taking those photos around your home so that you have that documentation.
Those are easy things you can do well ahead of time. That doesn't include stocking things up. So if you don't want to wait till the end to do that, but maybe looking at your insurance, kind of get an idea of what you have, what you don't have, kind of organizing that stuff, because the moment you go trying to look for it, that's when you can't find things, right? So let's talk about those temperatures out the door. One thing you will find today is rain. That will be the same story on Saturday. Temperatures out the door, we're in those mid-70s. Will be another warm day, maybe not as hot as what we have been feeling, just because we're gonna have an earlier start to the rain. So highs this afternoon, still running just a few degrees above average. But if you're wondering, you feel like it's just been extra hot lately. Well, it's, the numbers are in. Officially, the hottest May on record in Orlando, Melbourne, Stanford, and Leesburg. Second hottest May on record in Daytona Beach. The heat certainly was on this month. Now we're going to start looking at a little more rain. There will be a bit of a change to that typical summertime pattern. That comes all thanks to a late season cold front. That is actually going to be coming through by early Saturday. That's where that rain chance is. 50 to 60% chance before even lunch on Saturday. And then notice we're going to see a big drop in those rain chances, a little bit of a dip in temperatures as well. We'll have more details on the big swing in our weather pattern coming up in just a little bit. Now let's check on those roadways. Richard Steve, he's got your News 6 traffic update.
All right, this is residential. It's not going to affect traffic too much unless you live within this direct area. This is going to be Buenaventura. So if you live out there, please pay attention. Blue Bayou Drive at Water's Edge Drive. This is a Florida Highway Patrol fatal crash response. So you're going to have quite the first responder activity out in this area. This is just south of Osceola Parkway, east of Buenaventura. Again, it's not going to affect major roadways, but some of you waking up out there could slow you down. So please pay attention. Once I get some info on it, I'll of course let you guys know. 417 for now, looking pretty good through the Lake Nona area, and then way up on our north end, Palm Coast down towards Flagler, even Ormond Beach, looking good. Guys, back to you.
Thank you, Steve. 7-Eleven coming up. The winning word that one teen just breezed right through, earning the title of National Spelling Bee Champion.
Plus, ICE agents swarm another Florida construction site. What witnesses are saying about one of the largest crackdowns yet on illegal immigration.
And can you trust a tree to protect your property against a hurricane? This morning, we're going to take a look at why mangroves are storm-fighting heroes. You're watching News 6 Mornings on this Friday. We'll be right back.
This morning, more than 100 people are being detained after an illegal immigration crackdown at a construction site near FSU, similar to what we saw in the Villages earlier this month. More than 50 state troopers teamed up with federal ICE agents for the raid. Homeland Security says some of the detainees were previously deported and some had criminal backgrounds. Witnesses say the sudden raid was overwhelming.
I can empathize with, I can only imagine if that was my dad or my brother or my friend or boyfriend. It's weird being here, what do you do? Because there's so many cops with guns.
The detainees are now in jail on an ICE hold. The construction company says it is cooperating with the investigation.
All this week, News 6 has been helping you get prepared for hurricane season. It officially starts on Sunday, by the way. And for some homeowners along the coast, getting ready means ditching concrete walls and putting their trust in some trees. Talking about mangroves. I went out with the Marine Resources Council to see firsthand how these coastal trees are storm-fighting heroes, all for a fraction of the cost.
I've always had an interest in anything on the water.
Mike and Sandy Mikowski have lived along the Halifax River since the mid-90s.
I'm either on the water, in the water, or near the water.
But with rising river levels and stronger hurricanes, that water becomes a problem. And you said that the line, the debris line, was on your fence, I mean, almost
to the top. Of the way.
Almost to the top. Often spilling into their backyard each time a storm passes.
I have a spot over here if you want.
The solution? A forgotten natural defender, mangroves.
Mangroves are our natural hurricane protection. They are 90% effective against hurricanes. Thank you.
News 6 was there as Mara Skadden and her team from the Marine Resources Council planted 30 red mangroves in between the coquina rocks that line the Mikowski's 100-foot shoreline.
Look at his little roots.
Eventually, those roots will grow into a natural storm shield. Mangroves knock down storm surge, fight erosion, and stabilize vulnerable shorelines. It's almost like they're secret weapons, even though it shouldn't be a secret.
Agreed.
Think of them as a seawall, only better.
There was a recent study that showed that living shorelines are 8 times more effective at protection than seawalls.
8 times.
8 times.
But over the years, more than 80% of Florida's native mangroves have been wiped out, mostly due to shoreline development. That's why the Marine Resources Council has ramped up its restoration efforts, growing mangroves, some 10,000 of them, in a nursery at their Palm Bay campus.
This is a perfect test. We got waves, and their burlap is getting wet.
Skadden says they're up to 2 plantings a week. They load up however many mangroves are needed into a U-Haul and take care of the rest.
We highly recommend them. Call them, donate to them, please support them.
Really enjoyed learning more about mangroves, and there is a lot to them, including the ecological benefits and what the law says about trimming them. You can't remove them, but you can trim them. I go in depth online. Just look for this story right on the homepage of clickorlando.com. And you know, it's so interesting. The reason I wanted to do a story on this is a couple years ago after Hurricane Ian moved through, I talked to Kevin Guthrie, the director of Florida's Emergency Management, and he said that when they assessed the situation, especially down in Fort Myers, that 15 to 18 foot storm surge that they experienced, when that went over mangroves, it was blunted to like 4 to 6 feet.
Wow.
So these nature-based solutions are really the future. We're kind of going back to the future.
Yeah.
Because all these things were native at one point. So I just wanted to do that, and just so happened that they were going to a planting, Marine Resources Council, so really enjoyed them having me out. But yeah, check out all the information. I got a whole thing, in-depth breakdown of mangroves. Much more on that right now. It's on clickorlando.com.
And they take a while to grow.
They
so
grow.
definitely
Yeah,
want
they
to
do.
check it out on clickorlando.com there. Well, this morning, a 13-year-old waking up a national spelling bee champ.
So tough to pronounce, even harder to spell, and this year's winning word was éclaircissement.
E-C-L-A-I-R-C-I-S-S-E-M-E-N-T, That is correct.
Let's go. Faizan Zaki dropped to his knees after spelling the word that ironically means a clearing up of something obscure. The Texas native beating out 243 other contestants after coming in second place last year. Now, Faizan says he plans to donate a large portion of that $52,000 cash prize.
The only thing better than a rain of confetti is 54 Ks.
Yeah.
Cash money.
So,
Good
right,
for
all
him.
that.
Yeah. All right, we teased it early in the morning that you were going to tell us what word you struggle with the most.
Oh.
What is it?
I'll be honest, and it sounds ridiculous, but sometimes it is ridiculous. Like, I want to say, and
ridiculous,
but not anymore. Not anymore.
You
But
think
like,
you
there was a
learned it.
time where I'm like, come on, dude, this is getting ridiculous.
When I'm typing,
Restaurant.
typing sometimes, I'm gonna sound so dumb.
No, you're not.
Calendar. I struggle with calendar.
Yeah. Okay.
So
Yeah.
every now and then it'll correct me. Thank you, the
Calendar?
director. I have to say that,
Calendar.
and I'm like, thank you, iPhone.
License. S-C-S.
License. That's a good one,
I
too.
don't know, but the squiggly's under there, and I know to change it. And
Sometimes satellite, when I own my stuff, the T, the double T, double
yeah.
L, I'm like, which one is it? It's double something.
Then you see it so many times that you assume that it's wrong.
Yeah.
But when it's right.
Correct.
Love it.
you know some of those words you struggle with,
I
too.
know.
Don't even sit there behind your TV or your phone and act like you don't struggle,
Believe me, we
too.
get the emails. There are quite a few misspellings in there. So.
Stop talking about my weather forecast. I know, I'm not good at it. No, just kidding. All right. To clear up, right? What was it again? What was it?
Éclaircissement.
Éclaircissement. You better practice
It was her
that.
facial expression
You
as
can
she
use
looked
that.
at
I
me to
didn't do it
say
on
that.
TV.
Éclaircissement.
Justin, what you didn't see though, Justin pacing the hallway, repeating it. I was
All morning.
All morning. All right, let's talk about the weather forecast. I'm just kidding. All right, here's what we're tracking. We've got a lot to talk about. So for your Friday, scattered afternoon showers and thunderstorms can't be ruled out. Pretty typical kind of garden variety sea breeze storms, right? Just the only difference is today it's a little earlier in the day. We're tracking some rain already across our western counties. Then on Saturday, a completely different setup than what we've experienced all month long. Come Saturday, we're talking about a late season cold front. That's going to actually sweep through the area, bringing with it a good dose of early morning rain. We're talking as early as about 6, 7 o'clock a.m. and that will continue to about lunch and then dry things out. Sunday, we're talking about probably the most comfortable day we've seen all month long as we officially start hurricane season also on Sunday. Temperatures out the door right now, we're in those mid 70s, but as we take you here hour by hour, highs this afternoon not as hot as what they have been because of the earlier start to the rain. Rain chances already up to about 40%. You can see this shifted earlier in the day, still holding till about 5, 6 o'clock this evening. The radar right now, most of us are staying dry, but notice we're already starting to see that moisture working its way in across our western zones. Marion County has since dried out. Areas of southern Marion County right now dealing with some of those scattered showers and thunderstorms. Now, show you here, clouds and rain are still going to be bringing with it along I-4 towards 95 between about 1, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So I think for the most part, though, we will start to see most of the activity kind of taper off a little earlier in the day. So those late night booming thunderstorms, not likely, at least for today. Looking at the severe weather risk, you can see everyone highlighted under that marginal risk. That's level 1 out of 5 for strong to severe storms, gusty winds, lightning, all will be a possibility. Then let's move beyond Friday. Let's talk about Saturday morning. We are watching that cold front that's going to start moving into our area by Saturday around 7 a.m. Scattered downpours, heavy rain, frequent lightning is certainly a possibility. But again, this is 7 a.m. Normally we plan things early in the day so we don't have to deal with the rain. That's not the case on Saturday because by 8, 9 o'clock it's right over Metro Orlando. You can see areas of Brevard County also seeing some of the heavy rain. Most of it will taper off by about noon, and then that will usher in a really nice kind of setup. A lot of dry air, though, is going to be packing in behind this front, and it's going to come in pretty quickly. So that dry air will be felt as early as Saturday afternoon. But I want to show you here how dry the air will be. Not only will temperatures dip a few degrees, but the feels like temperatures will be pretty much in line with the actual temperatures, meaning that the humidity won't be such a huge factor. So that's your results here with the full 7-day forecast. Again, early morning rain Saturday, but then we are talking about conditions getting back to kind of more of a typical setup later on next week. All right, now let's check on those roadways with Trooper Steve.
Right now, this is a live shot here of the scene down in Osceola County off of in that Buenaventura community. So I've spoken to some troopers. They have confirmed that there is one fatality confirmed out of this on scene with a vehicle in the water. The biggest question I have right now is why the Orlando Fire Department is down here in Osceola County. So we're trying to figure that out right now. But this is going to be at Blue Bayou Drive at Water's Edge Drive. As I take a zoom out here, you can see exactly where we're located in that community with that lake or that little pond being right there. So we're going to stay live and have that shot provided. You can see the bubbles coming up out in the lake there. We'll keep you updated. Guys, back to you.
Thanks, Trooper Steve. Well, school may be out, but your child does not have to go hungry.
Straight ahead, where to pick up free meals all summer long.
And at the bottom of the hour, keeping kids safe in the water, the local sheriff's office offering free lessons just in time for summer.
As kids get out for summer break, several local school districts are working to help families in need.
And that includes free meals. Seminole County kicks off its program on Monday. It's all thanks to a partnership with Summer Break Spot. No application is required or needed to pick up a meal. All kids 18 and under can pick up a meal from a Break Spot location. For a list of locations and times, just click on the link in this story on clickorlando.com.
It's a fix that's long overdue, but yet to happen.
Up next, the massive pothole causing problems for people in one Lake County neighborhood and why nothing is being done to fix it.
Plus, the honor some Lake County deputies are now receiving after a deadly ambush.
Streaming on clickorlando.com and broadcasting live, you're watching News 6.
Good Friday morning. I'm Chief Meteorologist Candace Campos. We are tracking some scattered showers. A few lightning strikes are now getting picked up. As of right now, Marion County, we're looking mostly dry, but the bulk of the rain now sliding further south throughout the villages, Leesburg, Lake Pennsauken, Bushnell as well. Now, those scattered showers are going to continue to move from west to east, so kind of an earlier start to the rain and storms, but a very early start to Saturday's rain and storms, all thanks to a late season cool front that as it moves through, it should clear out by about the lunchtime hour. Temperatures, though, by the way, are going to be much cooler. Temperatures back into the upper 80s with the humidity out of the forecast. Now let's check on those roadways with Trooper Steve.
We are watching a fatal crash investigation this morning down in Osceola County at Blue Bayou Drive at Water's Edge Drive. This is down in the Buenaventura community, so just be careful. Outside of that, I-4 looking great in Seminole County. Your drive times right now 18 minutes from Sanford to 408 westbound, and then 408 Pine Hills all clear. The news continues next. Remember, get updates on our big stories anytime. ClickOrlando.com.
This portion of the news is sponsored by AK Certified Roofing. Streaming on clickorlando.com and broadcasting live, you're watching News 6.
The time is now 7:30 on your Friday.
Let's get a check of our top stories breaking right now. A live look at that deadly crash at the intersection of Blue Bayou Drive and Water's Edge Drive in Osceola County. It appears a car is in the water there. Still a very active scene. We do have a crew on the ground and we'll give you updates as soon as we know more.
And a man is in the hospital after being shot by police in Kissimmee. Investigators say he pointed a realistic-looking BB gun at officers when they arrived to calls about an armed man behind a shopping center off 192.
And local Red Cross volunteers set to head to Missouri today. It comes after the Midwest was hit hard by several deadly tornadoes in the past few weeks.
And here in Central Florida, meantime, we've been dealing with our own severe weather. More storms, they are on the way, but a little earlier than you might think.
Yeah, really important to pay attention to the timing of the storms for the next couple of days. Chief Meteorologist Candace Campos with a breakdown.
Yeah, it rains every day at the exact same time. I don't need to watch you. Well, because things change. So there it is. Satellite and radar composite, we are watching this cold front that's coming through the area on Saturday morning. That means when you wake up early Saturday between about 6 and about noon, we are going to see the heaviest of the rain, and then things dry out pretty quickly. So again, this is going to be the big change to the forecast. For today, the only change is that our typical sea breeze storms are going to come in a little earlier, and that's exactly what we're seeing already in areas of Lake and Sumter County. Right now through Bushnell, Coleman, Fruitland Park, we had one little cell here that just cleared the villages. Heading over to you guys in Umatilla, Eustis, Asatula, Tavares. You're going to be seeing some of those scattered showers in the next 20 to 25 minutes, so just be aware of that. Now, rain chances are still going to be elevated throughout the day as all of that moisture works from west to east. 60 to 70% chance for those scattered showers. Another day where we're going to be kind of dodging not only some strong storms, but the possibility of some severe weather as well. An isolated low-end risk of a tornado, gusty winds, slow-moving storms could pack an additional 1 to 2 inches of rainfall. But we are watching again that next cold front, bringing with it early morning rain with some changes behind it. We'll have more details on that coming up in just a little bit. Now let's check on those roadways with Trooper Steve. He's got a busy morning already on this Friday.
Well, it's a residential community here. Here's a quick live look. There's a lot of crews out there. I'll show you on the map here where we're talking about. Blue Bayou Drive at Water's Edge Drive. This is a community of Buenaventura, south of Osceola. There's a lot of crews down there, vehicle in the water. Unfortunately, a confirmed fatality out of this. So they're going to be doing quite an investigation. It'll take some time. Seems like traffic is able to get by in the community. Out here, I-4 out in the Lake Mary area, still looking good. 417 westbound. As you make your way towards the downtown, ticked up 2 minutes there, so we're now in a 19-minute drive, still not too bad, and then 22 minutes if you're coming in from the Champions Gate area. All those construction icons are just active kind of projects that are going on. Kirkman, north and southbound if you're headed towards the attractions. Looking good. Guys, back to you.
All right, thank you, Steve. New this morning, a huge pothole in Lake County has drivers swerving and neighbors worried for their safety. You can see the cones up right here. The trouble spot is at Town Center Boulevard and Resort Way, right near the Oaks on the Lake apartments. It's been blocked off for months with no repairs, and people who live there are fed up. News 6's Mark Lehman spoke to neighbors about what they want this problem fixed.
This issue was first brought to our attention by a viewer who has concerns about safety in the area. Here's the situation. We have a 2-lane road off of US 192 that merges into 1 lane, but as that's happening, there's a 10-foot section of the road that's blocked off by these barricades. People living nearby say there have been a lot of close calls in this area, and they tell us a fix is long overdue.
It's just not a good situation. It's dangerous.
Sandra Koneska says her daily drive home became an issue after she moved into the Oaks on the Lake apartments. That was back in September.
Nothing has been done ever since, right?
No. The cones have been sitting there. They've been moved around, spread out a little bit, brought back in, but it's been there ever since.
The problem lies under the asphalt of Town Center Boulevard and Resort Way. Drivers say for months, barrels have surrounded a hole beneath the road, and because of that, cars are forced to swerve around the blockade.
How concerning is all of this?
So very concerning because of the fact that every time I pull in from work, people don't know which way to go.
We spotted some moments of confusion with one car stopped in the middle of the road while others went through.
It would hold up traffic. People could get hurt. We walk to the store all the time, so it's a hazard from us walking.
Sandra says she fears the situation is an accident waiting to happen and wonders just how much longer this problem will linger.
It's my safety, my children's safety, my family that comes to visit me. Yeah, it needs to be fixed.
Now, Lake County Public Works tells us the roads here are not county roads, and we've learned they're privately maintained. The viewer that tipped us off says he was told the owner is looking for a contractor to fix this, but that was 3 months ago. We made calls to that owner. So far, have gone unanswered. As soon as we hear back, we'll let you know. For now, reporting in Lake County, Mark Lehman, News 6.
Hopefully we see those repairs soon out there. Nearly 10 months after a deadly ambush left one Lake County deputy dead and 2 others hurt, a national organization is honoring them for their heroism and bravery. Lake County Sheriff Peyton Grinnell, along with deputies Harold Howell and Stefano Gargano, accepted the Tunnel to Towers Hero to Hero Award last night. In August, deputies say a violent trap on Brookside Drive claimed the life of Master Deputy Bradley Link. The 2 other deputies were hurt in the shootout. Both are still recovering and have not returned to active duty yet.
And I want to tell everybody that Master Deputy Bradley Link died a hero. And these 2 men right here are patriots. Absolutely.
Now, that was Deputy Link's father who accepted the award on behalf of his son. Authorities say Julie Sulpizio set a trap to lure deputies into the home where her family was armed. Her husband and 2 daughters died by suicide at the scene. Sulpizio is in custody but was just deemed incompetent to stand trial after her court hearing was canceled yesterday.
New this morning, 2 of the men accused in a deadly shooting outside of a Seminole County Best Buy have reached plea deals with prosecutors. We've been following this story since just before Christmas when 21-year-old Terrence Pope Jr. went to the store on Reinhardt Road to sell an iPhone, only to be caught up in a robbery. 3 suspects later arrested in this, and according to court documents, 2 of them, Shanavius Dorsey and James Nelson, have pleaded no contest to accessory and tampering charges and will only get probation. As for the 3rd suspect, 22-year-old Khalil Hunter, he remains charged with murder and is due back in court next month. Some scary moments now in Brevard County after a train slams right into the back of a semi-truck, and this was all caught on camera. Well, this happened yesterday near US 1 and Lake Washington Road in Melbourne. Police say the truck got stuck on the tracks, and when the crossing arms came down, the driver jumped out. Fortunately, they were able to get away safely, and there are no reports of any injuries.
As Osceola County ends its school year today, we're getting new numbers showing just how many drivers have been caught speeding through school zones. News 6's Stephanie Rodriguez breaks down how the program is getting results.
A few years ago, a teenager was seriously injured after being hit by a car near Kissimmee Middle School. To stop things like that from happening again, the county installed these cameras to remind drivers it's their responsibility to help keep students safe.
And it was getting real dangerous.
Nancy Sayas tells me she's felt safer dropping off and picking up her grandson at Boggy Creek Elementary School since the program began.
I come here every day, every morning, every afternoon, and I have noticed the 15 years that I've been coming here, and since they've been putting the cameras, it's been wonderful.
The cameras capture drivers going 10 miles over the speed limit. The infractions are reviewed by the sheriff's office to determine if the drivers will be fined $100.
So those little tickets are little reminders that, hey, you're going through a school zone, you need to slow it down, don't be distracted, and I think it's going to really help improve safety in those areas.
In the beginning, drivers were given warnings. Now, during that time frame, over 14,000 warnings were sent out. After that, the citations began. The county tells me that as of last week, over 5,500 citations have been issued. Osceola County points to the numbers as evidence of the need for the program. Crossing guard Kim Navarrete has seen an improvement.
I'm here to protect the kids. The kids are very good at following instruction. It's the drivers.
But she wants to see another layer of security for students.
I do see some speeding out here. It has been reduced since they put the cameras in, but we still need a police presence. They come and they do their traps. They were here just a couple days ago, and it really helps.
The county believes the program will change the driving habits of people who are speeding through school zones. Reporting in Osceola County, Stephanie Rodriguez, News 6.
Good to see those cameras getting results. Happening today, President Trump is set to hold a news conference with Elon Musk at the White House. The high-profile event comes as Musk wraps up his role as a special advisor in the administration. In a recent interview, he said he doesn't always see eye to eye with the president, but still backs many of the administration's moves. Musk also announced that he's stepping away from his position with the Department of Government Efficiency.
Hurricane season starts this weekend, and Senator Rick Scott says Floridians can't afford to wait to get prepared. He made a stop in Sanford yesterday, warning people to get ready now and to not rely on FEMA. We've told you before how federal disaster funding is running low, and recent cuts to FEMA programs have leaders concerned heading into what could be a very active season.
We've had unbelievable flooding where people never thought we'd have flooding. We got great emergency management teams. The federal government is a check writer.
The stop was part of Scott's hurricane preparedness tour. He urges families to check supplies, review plans, and act before a storm is on your doorstep.
Speaking of the tropics and hurricane season approaching, Chief Meteorologist Candace Campos with a look at this very early tropical outlook.
Yeah, well, we're also looking at the potential for some development, though, as we head into like the middle of June. But as of right now, for the next 7 days, there are no new tropical developments expected, at least across the tropical Atlantic. This is the area that we're talking about. Again, notice the date. This is June 11th through June 17th, so we have some time. But a lot of the models that have continued kind of holding on to some sort of area of interest here that we'll be watching across the western Caribbean there, southern Gulf, or possibly over the Eastern Pacific, which is also happens to be where our first named storm of 2025 across the northern hemisphere has developed yesterday. Tropical storm Alvin. It's going to continue to move into cooler waters, more wind shear, drier air. It's not expected to be a big time storm, but it is the first storm of the season, not only for the Pacific, but across the northern half of the earth, right? So you can see that it will weaken as it heads into kind of Baja California. So for today, what's the setup? We're dealing with storms, already picking up some activity already for our western areas, Lake Sumter, Marion County. So we're having an earlier start to the rain and storms today, a very early start to the rain and storms on Saturday, all thanks to a cold front that will be cooling temperatures down slightly, but also bringing in much drier air. We'll have more details on that coming up in just a bit. Now let's check on those roadways with Trooper Steve.
Right now, we're still monitoring this fatal crash down into Osceola County. You can see here they're pulling this vehicle out of the water right now. Off to the side here, I'm going to move on. The crash is over at Blue Bayou, but there is a confirmed fatal out there, vehicle into the water there over at Water's Edge Drive. A lot of crews out there, again, the Buenaventura community, so just be careful for us this morning. I-4 still looking good out there, no problems, and your drive times where they're supposed to be. Yesterday out on patrol, we were driving around on the highways talking about how ways you could avoid those tire blowouts, from vehicle positioning to tire routine maintenance. Head to clickorlando.com. Check that out. If you've been with us this morning, I'm headed out to Lake County. Mark Lehman's been monitoring a kind of traffic issue that's been taking place out on the west end. So we're going to take the stream live today out there. Guys, back to you.
All right, sounds good. Thank you, Steve. 7:42. When it comes to hurricane season, we know flooding is a major concern.
Yeah, but with weather patterns changing fast, outdated maps can leave you underprepared. Coming up, how new technology is helping pinpoint risk areas like never before, and why officials say this new data could save lives.
Plus, another move to potentially bring NASA headquarters to the Space Coast. The plan under review that could merge two of the most important players in the future of space.
We are staying on top of breaking news right now. Here's a live look of a deadly wreck at the intersection of Blue Bayou Drive and Water's Edge Drive in Osceola County. You can see officials pulling a car out of the water as we speak. The scene still very active. FHP out there, as well as some deputies. We have a crew on the ground, and we'll update you as soon as we know more.
Well, we know flooding is one of the biggest threats during a hurricane, so knowing your risk is crucial. But outdated FEMA maps struggle to keep up with Florida's fast-changing weather. Here locally, emergency officials say some new technology is helping identify flood zones more accurately than ever before. News 6's Lisa Bell went to Seminole County's Emergency Operations Center to find out what that means for homeowners.
If you drive along on Orange Boulevard, you kind of wonder why they built there.
Seminole County Emergency Manager Alan Harris says new mapping technology has improved accuracy to predict flood-prone areas, and residents need to know their risk.
And the way that we can look at things now through topography and GPS and all of that, we can see where water will collect. So some people are really happy because it takes them out of the flood map, out of the flood zone. And then some people are not so happy because it puts them in a flood zone.
It's mapping technology that did not exist when Harris first stepped into this role in 2006.
How has flooding changed in the 2 decades here in Seminole County that you've been in this role?
So prior to 2004, it was really a historical look at flooding. We hadn't really had a lot of flooding because there hadn't been a lot of hurricanes. 2008 was historic. It broke all the records for flooding in Seminole County.
Take us back real quick to 2008, because a lot of people didn't live here back in 2008, and that was a tropical storm.
It was not a hurricane, yeah. It was a tropical storm. It was a very slow-moving tropical storm. It never a hurricane over the Central Florida area, but an incredible amount of water.
The new flood data that the county collects is eventually sent to FEMA and can be used to update FEMA maps. But updating those maps can take years and is no match for Florida's rapidly changing weather. In fact, the last time Seminole's FEMA maps were updated was back in 2007.
I practice what I preach. So I'm not in a flood zone, but I still have flood insurance.
Lisa Bell, News 6.
All right, so you can get a flood insurance quote from your provider or through a link to FEMA's site. In this story, it's on clickorlando.com. Premiums vary. They average between $400 and $1,200 a year.
Space Florida just launched a study to see if NASA and the U.S. Space Force could merge operations at Cape Canaveral. It's a continued push to make Florida the nation's space hub. State leaders want NASA to move its headquarters from D.C. to Brevard County, and supporters say a unified model could boost commercial launches and make government missions more efficient.
Not only will you have a great workforce, you have partners, you have stakeholders, and a lot of excitement for what we're doing in the space arena.
There's been no decision yet on a headquarters move, but the study could shape the future of space operations right here in Central Florida.
In a town thousands of miles from Disney World, a mansion is giving the Magic Kingdom a run for its money. It's really nice, really expensive too. 40,000 square foot home in Utah. It just hit the market. It features a Star Wars theater, a Disney tiki room, even a Swiss Family Robinson bedroom. I don't see any Mickey or Minnies up in there, but I do see that tunnel, and that looks rather weird. But this was originally listed for $35 million. It's now down to 19.5. The
What
catch,
a discount!
This is in rural Hiram, Utah. Not exactly Epcot. It's about an hour and a half north of Salt Lake City. But it goes up for auction next month, and potential buyers will have to make a refundable $100,000 deposits.
Piece.
Look.
That looks like a slice
Yeah.
of Disney heaven right there.
If you've got that type of money, you can have your own private jet. You can just fly yourself to Epcot whenever
if you
you
took
want.
the Disney stuff
And by
out,
the way,
it'd be a little
there's
less.
not a lot of Disney stuff in there.
No.
And if you got the money to afford that, you can do whatever you please with that
Right.
place.
It doesn't have to be just a
And
Disney
we're not
thing.
nickel and diamond. Oh, we can't take down the Swiss Family Robinson bedroom because we just don't have it in the budget. It's like, no, you do.
You do.
So,
It's funny, anytime I drive by like big houses, I was like, it's nice, but can you imagine how many bathrooms you're gonna have to
I
clean?
know. That's what I
Can't worry about
say.
cleaning.
That many bathrooms, they ain't cleaning.
Yeah, I know. All right, let's talk about the weather forecast. Just make myself feel better, that's all. All right, let's talk about the weather forecast for today. Listen, I know we have all of Friday to get through, and I'll talk about Friday in a second, but this is one thing that is going to be kind of the biggest change to what has been a pretty consistent summertime pattern. It's Saturday morning. We are watching a late season cold front. That's going to arrive by daybreak. Saturday morning, within the next 24 hours, we're going to be seeing a lot of rain. Rainstorms, coverage will be up to about 60 to 70%. Notice the timeline, though. This is going to be a 5 a.m. to about a 12 p.m. kind of play out here. Again, on Saturday. So that's just one thing I wanted to catch your attention on before I lose you. Temperatures out there right now in those mid-70s area wide. But now let's take you here hour by hour. Rain chances up a little bit, a little earlier in the day. We're up to about a 40% chance. And then the chance for rain continues into the afternoon. But an earlier start to the rain should keep temperatures actually a little cooler than where we have been, more in those mid-90s. Today we're in those low 90s. Still will be hot though, still will be uncomfortable. Right now we're tracking some scattered showers throughout Lake and Sumter County, and all of that moisture continuing to pick up along I-4 towards 95. But notice the time, it's still pretty early in the day, 1, 2 o'clock. We'll have that possibility of a couple of those strong storms that kind of embedded within them. Because of that, the Storm Prediction Center has highlighted the entire area for a level 1 out of 5 for severe weather. Again, just kind of the same setup that we were dealing with for the past several days, just a little earlier. Gusty winds, the possibility of some of those heavier downpours adding to what has already been a very soggy week. Also looking at a kind of pea-sized hail possible in the forecast. So after today, things kind of die down throughout the overnight, and then we're going to ramp up those rain chances. Notice the timing here. This is 7 a.m. We're watching a cold front moving into the area. Again, that late season cold front will be bringing in a surge of heavy rain, the possibility of some strong, possibly some severe weather in the forecast. Very low end risk, but again, worth the mention because especially it is so early. I don't want people getting caught off guard. So if you have early morning activities on Saturday, a lot of people do to try to beat the heat and the rain that normally is expected by the afternoon. We're not going to see that this time. So most of that rain will be over kind of the Orlando area, the theme parks possibly there till about 8, 9 o'clock. So those who are maybe doing rope drop might be a little bit on the soggier side. And then the rain should push off by about the lunchtime hour, and then things will start to trend a bit cooler. So highs say 90, but notice the heat index. All that humidity will make it feel hotter. But Saturday and Sunday, we're still talking about highs below average at this point, upper 80s. But notice the heat index, not too far off those actual temperatures, which is why it's going to feel actually quite comfortable out there. And as a result, here, the full 7-day forecast, along with the nicer weather for Sunday. Officially, hurricane season begins June 1st. Now let's check on those roadways with Trooper Steve.
I don't know if our photojournalist can hear me, but your camera shot is live. If you could pan it to the right for us here and show us the scene of what is taking place out in the roadway out here. This is the fatal crash that has been taking place down here in Osceola County. I do believe that might be a Pontiac or a Chevy SS style vehicle that they have just pulled out of the lake out here. So this is going to be going on for quite some time. I think he could finally hear me out there. Blue Bayou at Water's Edge. So just be careful. Avoid this area as much as possible this morning. Once they clear it up, of course, we'll put out a push alert as long as you got the News 6 app. 434 out in Seminole. Ground level here just west of I-4. All clear. Guys, back to you.
Thank you, Steve. It's a deadly trend, and Florida leads the nation. How one local sheriff's office is fighting against child drownings to keep kids safe this summer.
Developing now, cleanup underway in parts of Georgia after a tornado tore through homes and injured several people. The storm struck yesterday afternoon in Henry County. That's just southeast of the Atlanta area. An 18-year-old is in critical condition after he and his father were thrown into the woods when their home collapsed. At least 13 structures were damaged. Neighbors say they had no time to prepare and no watches were in effect at the time.
Well, the summer season is here, and with drownings on the rise, one Florida sheriff says prevention starts young. The Osceola County Sheriff's Office teaming up with the YMCA to provide a free swim and water safety camp for preschoolers. Florida leads the nation in child drownings. In fact, it's the #1 cause of unintentional death for kids under the age of 4, and it's a major threat to other children as well.
We've seen a lot of that here in Central Florida, and a majority are tourists. So what we're trying to do is make sure that we're putting our part through our Police Athletic League.
Sheriff's Office also gave parents a free CPR and first aid training class to help prepare them for emergency situations. Never can do too much to prevent that. All right, Candace.
All right, temperatures out the door right now in the 70s, but what we're really focused on right now, some heavier downpours stretching from Umatilla down through Lakes Panasoffkee, Bushnell as well, and all that rain will continue to push from west to east for today. So we're talking kind of an earlier start to the rain. Speaking of early start to the rain, this is what you're going to be waking up to on Saturday, 7, 8 o'clock in the morning. Heavy downpours, some strong storms can't be ruled out, all thanks to a late season cold front that, as it continues to sweep through, should clear the area by about lunchtime, and that will usher in some really nice weather for the rest of your weekend. Steve.
Florida Highway Patrol Homicide is out here investigating a fatal crash down in Osceola County. You can see the corporals down there currently investigating. They have removed that vehicle out from the water. There is one confirmed dead from this crash. Just avoid the area of the Blue Bayou down in that community.
All right, thank you, Steve, and thank you for joining us. We break news on clickorlando.com.
You can also find all of our stories on our new 6 Plus app for your TV.
Have a great Friday and a great weekend. See you.